Hey guys, it's Hades. This is another Raid Shadow Legends video. So today I'm going to look at the best rares in the game. I've done legendaries, I've done epics. Now we're going to move on to the rares. There's a few rares in the game actually that are still super viable for end game content, and I'll show you a couple of example runs once I've gone through some of these champions. So let's just dig straight into it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by talking through rares that are good in kind of general content, like dungeon content, minnow grind, keeps, all that type of stuff, and arena, and then I'll go into ones which are specifically good for clan boss. If you pull any of these rares, do not use them as food. I know when I was early game, there probably wasn't that much content around that you could look at and say, what should I be doing? Which rares should I use? Where should I use them? Which epics are good? My son started playing this game recently, and he started to feed this bad epic a load of good rares, and I was just like, "Oh wow, what are you doing? Ask me, ask for help." So this video is the ask for help video. Check it out. Check that you're not fooding some of your good champions, because actually, as I say, some of these champions are viable end game. So let's start off then with a couple of the big names, if you like. So let's go straight into the one that everybody wants. Cold Heart. So Cold Heart, she is a void rare, so more difficult to get. Albeit there's not that many void rares, so if you do end up pulling void shards, you've got a pretty reasonable chance of pulling Cold Heart. Versus if you specifically wanted a rare from a different faction. But it does mean that you can't pull her from your mystery shards, whereas all of the non-void rares you can actually just pull from your green shards that you get kind of on daily grind. There's a good chance that you're going to pull rare, not a good chance, sorry, a reasonable chance, nearly 1.5% worth of chance that you'll pull a rare from your mystery shards. And pretty much for the missions every day where it asks you to roll 3, I normally roll a pack of 10. So if you're in campaign farming, you can get those those mystery shards out quite quick. So anyway, let's go into Cold Heart. So I will show you at the end of the kind of chats Cold Heart in action on Spider and Cold Heart in action on Fire Knight. But basically, her kit it's relatively unique. It's incredibly strong. You have to build her in the right way. So she's got an A1, which is a 4-time attack. So it's pretty rare. There might be, I don't know, maybe 10 champions in the game that have got an A1 with 4 hits. Really good. And that counts really well in somewhere like Fire Knight, where you have to beat through the Fire Knight boss's shield. It counts well in Clan Boss, certainly up to about Brutal level, because every time you hit with your A1, you've got a chance of proccing Giant Slayer. It also puts a heal reduction on, but you need good accuracy to make that land. Again, in Fire Knights, that's really strong. Heal reduction is also good around things like faction wars, where you're just kind of going through waves. So all in all, a decent A1 actually, and it's also the big heal reduction, 100%. Again, there's not that many champions that can do that. So our A2 attacks all enemies, AoE, got a chance to put decreased accuracy buff on, which is okay. I'd say it's an average buff. There's also a chance to place 5% poison if the target's got heal reduction on it. So you kind of need to lay the A1 first, then you go in with the A2 and you might get a poison off. It's a stronger version of poison as well. So you can book this down to 3 turns. It hits hard. Once you've got her to the right sort of gear, this hits hard. This is good. You get 2 Cold Hearts in the same place and they pretty much nuke waves down for you. And then this is the golden ticket. This is the move that everyone wants to see. Heart Seeker. So basically it does 2 things. It fully depletes the turn meter. So if you land this on Spider, Spider's turn meter drops to 0. If you land this on the Fire Knight boss when his shield is down, his turn meter drops to 0. So that's actually in itself, that's amazing. It's really, really helpful. Then there's a couple other parts to it. So it's got a 30% extra chance to crit. Means you only need to build yourself to 70% crit, which helps with the build because her build's quite gear intensive. And it also does damage according to max HP. So the higher the HP of the enemy, the harder this hits for. On bosses, this absolutely nukes them. I've had 1.5 million plus crits this ability on Spider. So you can imagine you get a couple of those go off and the Spider's pretty much half dead. So this is probably the best rare in the game. I'll just show you quickly how I've got one built. Give you an idea of what you should be looking for. One's my better one. This one. Okay, so look, I've got some good gear here, so it's not like I'm saying everyone build exactly like this, but this is what you should be aiming for. So what you want is, let me just maybe this is a better example for sort of normal game player really. You kind of want to have as close to 70% crit as you can get. You want to then push as much crit damage as you can possibly get. Don't worry too much about attack, doesn't really matter. After you've got your crit rate and your crit damage, all you really want is HP and defense. Now, defense percentage does not scale very well on her because her base defense is really low. So if you want to push your defense up, you're better off doing it with rings. I've got it's this one, sorry. You're better off doing it with rings because base stat rings actually give us more than percentage when with someone who's this low on defense. And I want crit damage here, accuracy here, because you want your accuracy high enough to land your drop turn meter for that A3 ability. If you see here, I've got a chest which will be HP chest because I want it to stay alive. This will be crit damage because I want as much damage from that heart seeker as I can get. But then other rolls on other items, basically looking for speed, crit damage. I would also like to see crit rate, attack, and hopefully some HP rolls as well, because I want her to be able to stay alive. That's Cold Heart. Cold Heart's probably the best rare in the game. Oh, screen. And I'm going to go now to the second best, I would say, or general content, and that's Bellower. I've done a guide on Bellower. Hopefully you've been able to see it. Bellower's really just effective right the way up to probably towards the sort of far end game. He's an excellent campaign farmer in the right gear. He can be an 8-second campaign farmer, and you would have been able to see that from my guide if you've had a look. He's got abilities on all of his attacks, so as in he can block schools, he can decrease speed, and he's got decrease attack and defense. Albeit it's a smaller version, it's still really effective. So every move he does, he's got the ability to drop some debuffs. Every ability is an AoE, so it'll attack the whole wave. And actually you can get him hitting really hard. He's also got speed aura for faction crips. So Bellower, kind of want to build him reasonable amount of speed. Again, good crit rate, probably 100% crit rate if you can get it. Plenty of crit damage, and then some tankiness to stay alive. Similar sort of build to Cold Heart actually. And you want the accuracy to be able to land all of these different abilities. Again, I'll show you Bellower in action on Fire Knights at the end of this video. So let's move on then to third best rare in the game. Still definitely endgame viable. That's Apothecary. So Apothecary for a long time was a kind of must-have in the clan boss. Right up until probably Nightmare level, you can use Apothecary really in strong teams. Some teams that are still running 50 million damage comps will use Apothecary for his speed. So the main thing about him, he's got a really good base speed, good base defense for a rare, and good base HP. He's got a free hit A1. That's good again in clan boss for Giant Slayer procs. He's got a strong heal on his A2, and it can crit. So actually, if you've got higher crit rate, you've got a good chance of this being a critical heal, which can heal someone from almost from 0 to 100. Really good heal, this one. Single target, but very good. And I'll show you him in Spiders a little while. He's also got this ability, and this is kind of what he's known for really. So he increases speed by 30%, which is strong, and he fills turn meter by 15%, which is also very strong. So if you can imagine, if you're behind in the arena, he can completely flip the game. On clan boss, you can get yourself going faster and faster and faster, and get turns in when you probably shouldn't get turns. And in dungeons, he can just do some clutch stuff, like he can throw your heals out, he can speed you up. So very strong champion, really versatile. Want to build Cold Hearts to be as quick as you possibly can. Let's see if I've got one that's actually built. Show you. I want a Cold Heart to be basically as fast as possible, but a bit defensive as well. I think it's in here, yeah. Now to show you. Yeah, so basically you see they're all speed gear. These will all be high speed rolls. Look at that, 260 odd speed. I will have a speed roll on my banner. I will have fence ideally on my gloves, but could do HP. So you don't want to go with attack or that type of thing. Crit rate. You could go crit rate actually to get your crit rate higher to do your crit heals. That's pretty solid. This is better to be a HP or a defense chest, and then you just kind of want as fast as you can on everything else. Speed rolls basically across the board. So that is Apothecary. Again, I can show you him shortly. Let's go now into wrong screen. Dex. Let's go into Demon Spawn. So this is potentially one of the best rare campaign farmers in the game. He is a void, so he's quite difficult to get. This is Fel Hound. Fel Hound's got an AoE. Basically, a campaign farmer needs to have an AoE on his A1, and it needs decent chunky damage. This one is based on defense and attack together, and he's got reasonable levels of both. So this will just keep going off, and basically he'll clear a wave. If he's got the right gear, he can clear a wave in one shot. I've seen 7-second Fel Hound farmers. He's also pretty strong on Fire Knights because of his A3 ability. No, sorry, not his A3. His A2 ability. His A2 has got a reflect damage. He puts that on all allies. It's kind of similar to having a Skull Crusher up, I guess, in that everyone would do a counter attack. But the counter attack in this sense is whoever's hitting you gets the damage back at them. So if Fire Knights hits you on Fel Hound, everybody will reflect some damage, and basically what that will do is it will knock the shields down a number of levels. Knock shields down like 5 times. You've only got 5 parts of shield to get through. Really strong champion, very versatile. Just needs to be built pretty tanky and basically high defense ideally. Good speed. That's Fel Hound. Let's have a look at go into High Elves. This is probably relatively new champion. Again, it's a void, so it's quite difficult to get. But reliquary tender. Basically, it's a kind of early level clan boss, general support, pretty strong champion. So decrease attack is always strong on clan boss, and she's got it on an A1. But she takes an obscene amount of books, which for early game is quite hard to do. She kind of needs these books to make this more effective because it increases your chance to land decrease attack. Decrease attack is the single best ability to land on the clan boss to last longer. So she's pretty strong. She's got a one hit, but it lands for 2 turns. It's pretty good. And then the rest of her kit is basically support focus. So she's got high base HP, high base speed, and she's able to remove buffs from allies, puts heals on them, a bit like Bad L actually. And it's like probably like a cheap version of Bad L really. She's also got a revive an ally with 30 HP and fills their turn meter by 30%, which again for something like Clan Boss is strong, for something like Arena is strong, even the dungeon content is strong. So good champion, definitely worth playing around with. Don't food this champion, pretty decent. And then I've got one more I want to show you for sort of general utility. Who I believe here. Yeah, we've got Painkeeper. Painkeeper is pretty unique as a champion. Kind of support focus. She's based as HP here, but it's kind of support. So she's able to fill her own turn meter with her A1, 2-hit A1. She's able to heal all allies by 15% of her own max HP, so you can build her up really strong in HP to get some heals off. There's also an AoE attack at the same time. The damage is based on her HP, so it kind of scales in the right way. and some attack. This is the one that she's known for though, this ability here. So she's able to decrease cooldowns of all of your ally skills. So every time this is off cooldown, which is a 4-turn cooldown if you book it up, you basically reduce all of your ally skills by 1 turn. It's really strong. It's really strong. It's kind of where she brings so much functionality. She's able to get some of your high damage or high utility champions to use their main abilities more often. Really strong. She's used right up to Nightmare Clan Boss for a lot of people. Some people use her still in kind of unkillable comps. She's definitely still using dungeon content as a kind of carry stroke healer disability. Yeah, just generally good champion, really good champion. That's kind of the sort of mainstay of the class as a kind of generalist champs. Let's look at now some more specialist champs. So I want to look specifically at ones which help you in clan boss from early levels right through to I'd say at least brutal, but probably nightmare. The nightmare viable. So let's go to Barbarians. Again, unfortunately it's a void. I wish I hadn't picked out so many voids, but they are the better ones in the ones I'm showing you here. We've got Monger here. This is somebody that I think a lot of people slept on for a long time. This kit just helps you in clan boss, so got a lot of different versatile abilities which are kind of clan boss focused. There's A1, I mean it's a hit. It places continual heal on this champion if it's a crit, so you just want to get his crit rate up to make sure that this procs often. This is just a nice sustainability for clan boss early levels, especially if you don't have a dedicated healer. Just keeps you alive for longer, so that's nice. Definitely worth. It's a good A1 actually for a rare. So his A2, it's an AOE, but for clan boss it chance 50%, booked up to 65, chance of landing a poison, 2 turns. A poison is going to be your highest source of damage on the clan boss right the way through the game. So even for me now fighting Ultimate Nightmare, I'm just trying to stack poisons. Poison does a lot of damage. Make sure you just kind of fill your roster early game with people that can lay poison, at least until you get sort of 5+ poison ticks per turn. That's where your damage is going to come from. This guy backs it up as well with a HP burn, which is the kind of secondary highest. Oh, it does more damage than poison, but you can only have 1 tick of it burning at any time. Whereas poisons, you can just kind of put a whole raft of them on. So the fact that he's got both of those abilities is really strong. You kind of want to get the HP burn on first, and then you start stacking your poisons in between. But for a clan boss champion, really good. He's got a bit of general utility throughout the rest of the games. He's got an AoE here, got a burn here, and he's got a heal here. So it's not bad in other areas of the game, but for clan boss specifically, he's very strong for a rare. Let's now look at one of the starter champs. Which is going to be Kale. So Kale is pretty much your best starter champ for most content. Really strong in arena, really strong. It can be a strong campaign farmer. Yeah, strong in dungeons, strong for spider. Just decent right the way up to kind of mid to end game. Now early game in clan boss, this is going to be your best damage dealer by a mile, unless you pull something really good early. So he's got a A1 which lands a poison, so 80% chance as well. It's really high, and it can be booked up to 100. So really good A1. It's the weaker version of poison, but for early game it's still really strong. Got a hard hit in A2. Got an extra 50% chance of hitting a critical hit. So again, you can kind of have his crit at 85% and still be confident that's going to crit. And it's also got a turn meter function here. So if he kills anybody, he gets 25% of his turn meter back. So in arena, that's really strong. In dungeons, that's really strong. Campaign farm, that's really strong. And then this is the kind of clan boss ability, which really hurts. So 4 times, 4 hits. Each hit, when booked, has got 50% chance of laying the stronger poison. So, you know, I've seen this lay all 4 at times. I've seen it lay 3 or 4 quite regularly. So this is a really strong ability for clan boss. You just straight away get 4 ticks of poison on the clan boss. If you get the right masteries, this could potentially be for 3 turns as well. So, you know, he's definitely somebody. If you're starting out in the game and you're just looking for who should I start off with out of the 4 starter champions, and to be fair, the 4 starter champions are all good, but this guy is easily the best, in my opinion. So let's just have a look at a couple more which are specifically good for clan boss. For this one, I think a lot of people sleep on this one. I've seen him played right up till endgame clan boss. So as I said earlier, the strongest or the most important ability that you can land on the clan boss is decrease attack. And this is one of the few rares that has got the higher percentage decrease attack debuff in the game. I think there might be one of 2 actually. So yeah, and he's quite easy to get as well. I don't know how many times I burnt this guy before I realised he was good. But yeah, what's that? 10, 20. So it's got a 50% chance of landing it for 2 turns. The other thing that's really nice about Bogwalker is got a decent base defense for a rare, and for clan boss you want to just stay alive for as long as you can whilst laying all these debuffs down. So he will do a decent amount of damage and he'll have survivability for clan boss, who's very good for a rare for clan boss. Got an A1, as I said, lands a decreased attack. He's got an A2, which is an AoE ability, but it also, this is one of the other best abilities that you can get for clan boss. He places increased defense on all your allies. So basically, he's making everybody else tankier for the next couple of turns. And you can break that down to you've got 2 chances to call it down there. So it can actually come back to a 3-turn cooldown, and it goes for 2 turns. So really good ability, really help you to get through to later stages of clan boss. And then his A3, again, this is a clan boss related skill. So he puts a reflect damage buff on all allies, a bit similar to the Fel Hound. So when clan boss comes in for a whack, actually you're hitting damage back at the clan boss. So for a passive ability as well. For a rare, this guy is really good for clan boss, really worth investing some time in. So let's look at 2 more. Next one is going to be the other guy that's got the decrease attack. So this veteran here, he's kind of similar actually to the champion I've just shown you. He's got a better base defense. He is a void. He's got a better base speed, which makes him a better champion basically for clan boss. This base defense, those 200 extra defense points will just keep him alive longer, because everything you put on him scales from this base level. If you put a 40% defense chest on him, it scales from this number, whereas Bogwalker would be scaling from the 1100. So yeah, slightly better champ. He's got a 35% base level, but it goes up to 50 again. It's 2 times. He's got 2 chances to place his decrease attack debuff, and the damage hits with defense, and you're going to be scaling this defense up, so that's good. The other abilities, if I'm honest, are not that impressive. That's where Bogwalker's got a bit more utility. So this one puts increased crit rate on all your allies. Well, it's for 3 turns, so it's reasonable, and it is based on you hitting somebody, so you do hit the clan boss to get this up. It's not terrible, but it's not amazing. Crit rate, I suppose it's good. It's good. It's not amazing. It's on a 3-turn cooldown, and it stacks up for 3 turns, so it's always up, which is quite nice. And then lastly, it's an attack all enemy ability, places block buffs. So this is completely irrelevant for block buff ability. Yeah. So it's completely irrelevant for clan boss. This is more like an arena style ability, really. But yeah, it probably does a bit of damage, I'd say, if you were doing it on sort of waves in dungeons and things. But I've not really seen this go off. But mainly known for these first 2 abilities, and those 2 are strong for clan boss. So lastly then, I just want to show you a dwarf. This dwarf came out, I don't know, months ago. He is really strong for clan boss. I'd say probably would be a single, again he's void, so apologies, it's another void, but he would be a game changing champ for anybody that's relatively new or into mid game. So again, he's a defense-based champion. He's got good base defense, good base speed. He's got an A1 that places a weaken. So anything, so it's a 15% weaken. Basically, anytime you hit the clan boss, once this is up, the clan boss will take more damage. So you've got a Giant Slayer proc. Giant Slayer proc hits for more. If you've got a standard hit, the standard hit hits for more. So that's a nice A1. Then got an A2, which is a HP burn. So again, one of those debuffs I said that you should try and get yourself onto the clan boss. Really good. 3-turn cooldown. Place it for 2 turns. And he's got a high chance. It'll be a 100% chance to land it if you book him up. It does a reasonable amount of damage as well. So that's a really nice one. But this is what he's known for. So when attacked, he's got a 30% chance of extending duration of all debuffs by 1 turn. 1 in 3 times, when the clan boss hits him, he can extend all your poisons, he can extend all your attack downs, all your HP burns. It's an amazing ability for a rare, and it will drastically improve how far you can get in clan boss with this going off, and the damage you'll kick out. He's a really good guy, really useful champ. He's also got an aura which is defense in all battles. If you put him as your leader, all of your champions gain more defense. Also, as a leader, he's more likely to get hit first by the clan boss with the stun. And when he's hit with that stun, this has got a chance of going off. So everything complements being the leader for your clan boss for a kind of early game, right up to Nightmare. This guy's really useful right up to Nightmare. So until you get better champs, but this guy is kind of right there, end game viable, certainly up to Nightmare clan boss. So I said I'd show you a couple of runs just to kind of show you a couple of champs in action. I'll do that now. That's kind of it for the variety of champs I wanted to show you. But let's just see a couple in action. Let's Spider first. Look, I'm going to mix it up. I'm not just going to do all rare runs because I don't want it to last forever. But I want to show you a mix here of putting in a couple of these rares. Endgame viable. This is the hardest level of Spider. I've got 2 legendaries to back them up. But you'll see that they've got their utility, and that's what they're bringing to the fight for me. So Apothecary's speeding me up. I've then got most of my damage is going to come from that HP burn that Ignatius does. See, Cold Heart also is able to kind of lay the nukes for me. So Morley for me is the tank here. Apothecary is the support who does healing and speed, and Cold Heart's in there for the nukes. See here, see that damage, 1.4 million. And all the while at the moment, Morley is kind of tanking up these spiders nice because I'm not hitting the spiders. Eventually, the spiders will come off a taunt and they'll start deciding who they want to go for between Morley, Ignatius, Cold Heart. You see Morley's just placed another provoke, so got a bit of time yet. And pretty much this becomes a bit of a race of this turn meter. I'm going to reset in a second, so I can't quite do it without the reset, but we're in good shape anyway. And pretty much what I'm waiting for is Cold Heart's Heartseeker to come back for a second time. He's done his reset. You see he's got, what, a third of his health left. At the same time, we're kind of doing our reset as well with abilities. Bearing in mind this is, okay, I've got 2 legendaries in here, so it's not like I'm putting a weak team out. They're good legendaries. But it kind of just shows you that these 2 are still endgame viable and important. They're important to this composition. It's not like I've got a few other epics that I'd rather throw in here. These are the guys I'd rather throw in. So nearly down, there we go. So what's that, 1 minute 42, Spider 20 run. So it kind of shows how they can work in Spider. And then I'll show you Fire Knight as well. Fire Knight's just a longer battle really, so again, I've got a couple of legendaries in here. Probably could swap her out. Arbiter's quite important for this team comp. So Fire Knight's all about having people with a lot of multi-hit A1s. I probably could put Apothecary in this lineup as well because he's got a good kit for this fight. I just wanted to show you Bellower kind of going through the dungeons. So this Bellower is geared as full nuke. Basically helps me through these waves. My Apothecaries, my Cold Hearts kind of nuke the waves. My Bellower nukes the waves, and then the Cold Hearts are really there for the boss fight. I've got 2 people that can res my champs, so yeah, these guys hit really hard when you get to level 20. To get someone like an Apothecary through, you do need the ability to bring them back sometimes. Sometimes I do this run and none of them drop at all, but there's a lot of RNG in terms of how much damage are we putting out. But you see here, it's what, near enough a minute a wave really. And normally I'd hope to do this run in around 3 minutes if all goes well. You see there, Bellower puts decreased attack, decreased defense on for me across the whole wave. We've got the Cold Hearts just kind of dropping the nukes from time to time. And basically the 2 legendaries in here are kind of more of the support role. So they're here to keep them healed, shielded and alive, whilst it's actually the rares that are in there doing the damage. Obviously, I mean, Arbiter is free to play friendly to a certain degree in that you can gain her from the missions, but I appreciate it's not easy, but probably about as free to play friendly as any legendary is. And by no means do you need this what's her name, Blind Seer. She just happens to be the one she's got a 4-turn A1, and I want as many kind of multi-hit A1s as I can for the actual boss fight. The difficulty with Fire Knight is you almost need a different team that can clear the wave than what you want on the boss fight. And having the balance between the 2 is quite difficult. It shows if I can clear this sort of content for Fire Knight 20, imagine how easy it is to do something like Fire Knight 15. You see here, on auto. I don't want her to do that. Auto can be a pain sometimes. Sometimes it will just land perfectly and you get all of those big hits like now, whereas other times kind of have to put up with that silliness. She's probably going to drop hers now, yeah. So they've both done it at the wrong time, which just extends the fight. So sometimes this can be a 2-minute 20 run. Sometimes it can be a 4-minute run. Depends on when these 2 decide to lay their nukes. The nukes also drop turn meter when, so you see she got it there at the right time. Turn meter drops, and I get another load of free damage on him. Whereas the first time around, it didn't drop any turn meters, so it didn't get through his shield. There we go again. That one didn't drop turn meters, the accuracy's not quite high enough. You can see I've got no problems here with this fight. Everyone's going to be sort of topped up. Even if one of them did drop, my Arbiter would resurrect, but I've got enough HP built into them that they can deal with the actual main part of the fight. And Bellower here is just kind of there for utility. The 3.5-minute fight, hoping for some speed boots and shield. 3.5-minute fight with 3 rares. Obviously I've got 2 legendaries, fair enough. But you see where the damage has come from here. Not from these guys, come from my 3 rares. So look, that's my guide on rares. I'd say there's a good kind of 12 rares there that you shouldn't food, and I'd say there's a good 4 rares at least that are viable right through to the proper end game of this. So I've been Hell Hades, hope that's been useful. Catch you soon.